Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're actually revisiting a topic I frankly did not expect to revisit at all, but unfortunately here we are again. Actually, one of you, my viewers, emailed me about this. So we're gonna be talking about Shallon Lester. If you don't know who Shallon Lester is, she is an influencer who creates content such as this on Instagram, essentially self-help, saying, how to be assertive instead of aggressive, how to remain unbothered, which will become ironic later. Female-centric content, from what I understand, about how to maximize your qualities and how to become a better person, so on and so forth. But I did make a video about Shallon Lester quite a while ago now. I'd say about a year, if not longer, because I don't understand time anymore, but I'll put the link down below and also in the eye. I typically don't like really insisting on you watching that video prior, but if you have no idea who Shallon Lester is, I very much suggest you watch it because xenophobia, weird interests in like significantly younger men, like underage younger, like there's a lot that we talked about with Shallon Lester prior. I'd rather you have a bigger image of who she is apart from just influencer who makes self-help content. So Shallon Lester has a highlight on her story as of when I'm filming, and it's also on her just like active stories right now, where she essentially outed a harasser of hers and went the whole 9 yards. Like, it wasn't just saying, oh, fuck this person, they're terrible, they've been harassing me, going all into them in terms of their credit score, their appearance. It's kind of like a rebuttal, but it's very strange and over the top. I think the total of the stories together was a few minutes, which is a lot of stories. I'm gonna put the stories. I suggest you actually pause to read each one because it is a lot. I'll put them here. If you've seen them and you want to skip them, I'll put a timestamp to where I discuss what's going on here. All right, now that you've seen the stories, first and foremost, the one thing I want to preface with is I do not encourage or condone any type of harassment, okay? That's just the end of that. So if Shallon was being harassed by a person or people, that's not something I condone. That's not something I condone for any creator, influencer, whatever. Just no. What I do also want to say though is that a lot of these comments seem to be coming from Reddit. From the format, it looks like Reddit to me. It doesn't look like Instagram or YouTube comments. So these are happening on a platform that is separate. The only reason I'm underlining this is because, and this I guess is advice to anyone if you ever want to be some kind of person online with a following, do not go to look at any kind of thread about you. I'm saying it right now. I say it to my friends. I've said it to myself the one time I happen to stumble upon something. Do not go check. There may be some valid criticism there, but a lot of the times the people who aggregate there aren't necessarily really there to critique you, but they might be there to insult your appearance or to say things that really aren't helpful, will hurt your feelings, and that just you gain nothing from reading. I don't think Shallon should have been looking through these comments in the first place. Like going to anything that is about you, Kiwi Farms, Guru Gossip, Reddit, whatever, is the equivalent of knowing one of your friends is talking badly about you and you're gonna go read the messages. It's gonna hurt you, but sometimes curiosity kills the cat, and that's why you look and then you often regret it. So that's all I'm gonna say. It's also important to note that Shallon herself in one of her stories mentioned that she has never interacted with this person. The reason I'm bringing this up is because a lot of the times when we hear harassment online, we think of someone directly coming to you and insulting you and saying whatever horrible thing. Here instead, as far as we can understand, Shallon went onto some thread about her, looked up, whatever, found these comments, screenshotted them, and then used them. So this person would have been completely unknown to Shallon if she had not looked herself up. Again, that's not to say that these comments are appropriate or nice or anything like that. I'm just differentiating between someone actively pursuing you, coming in your DMs, flooding your mentions, versus someone on a different platform. There's a difference. They both suck. I think it was out of line because whether or not someone's harassing you, there are different routes you can go down other than publicly shaming them. And the only time I really think that you should go to these threads about yourself is in cases of emergency. For example, you have a stalker and there's evidence of them stalking you there. Otherwise, there's no reason to go see, and there's no reason to give them the attention that they're craving by putting them on your story as a highlight and going off for God knows how many stories to get back at them to prove how unaffected you are. And that's the thing that I think is silly, is that people saying mean shit about you, no matter who you are, there will be a comment or there will be some aspect of your life that when someone comments negatively on it, it will hurt you. That's just normal. That's being a human. It's impossible for me to believe that nothing ever said to you will ever affect you at all. That's surreal to me. So in posting all these stories, I think the idea is to try to appear unbothered, but by definition, you're posting 50 fucking stories about this one person. You're clearly in some way bothered. She not only went as far as to put this person's name and face, which I blacked out because I'm not in the business of. People will say that's not doxing because it's not a phone number or address, but putting someone's full name out there when they don't have it out there, I don't appreciate that. I don't approve of that. There's a reason. And if you're so concerned with someone that you think that the harassment has gotten to a point where it's beyond internet trolls, let's say, then there are other routes to go down other than publicly shaming, because I think publicly shaming, if anything, gives them more ammunition to hate on you, to say that you're a bully, you're mean, whatever. The interesting thing was that in the stories that you saw, it almost seemed like a consistent compare and contrast. It was like, look at her and then look at me. Now, in the very last story, I believe it is, there was also straight up appearance shaming, which I was like, this doesn't do anything. You can say that someone's immoral for acting a certain way towards you. You can say that they're disgusting for saying certain things. But as soon as you start going for someone's appearance, your argument kind of falls flat, because it's like, why did that have to be included at all? It's not relevant. The best part was that Shallon included pictures of the troll had said something along the lines of, oh, she's stuck in a hole somewhere, something along those lines. And to prove her wrong, Shallon had to post pictures of her hole, there being, it sounds dirty when I say it that way, but showing pictures of where she's at. And she showed a picture from November of 2020 where she was traveling. You are shooting yourself in the foot here because, first of all, we're still in this horrible pandemic. But aside from that, to put that as a kind of like fuck you of like, oh, look at her, she's on her computer in her room while I'm here traveling. It's like, here you're just underlining to all of us that you're traveling when you shouldn't be at all. On her Instagram, there were other pictures that led me to believe that she was not necessarily being extremely responsible. That is just something that it looks like. Who knows? Maybe they all got COVID tested before they got on a fucking yacht. Who knows? But aside from that, going as far as to put someone's credit score on your story as a way to say, oh, this troll is so pathetic that their credit score is whatever it is so bizarre, because it's like Shallon is mad about this person consistently berating her, which, like I said, isn't right. But then again, Shallon is also kind of doing the same thing back, but to a bigger degree, in the sense of like going to look at her personal information, looking for her name, looking for posts in which someone else posted her. Like, it's weird, it's over the top, and it doesn't look unbothered. But on top of everything, and this is the downside of having a following online, the reality is, this will happen to you. It doesn't matter. At some point, this will happen to you. You might have people simply hating on you on a separate platform, which frankly to me is fine, because as long as it doesn't invade the platforms that I'm on, I can avoid going to Reddit, Guru Gossip, whatever. Whereas on our platforms, you're clearly going to look. But it seems like Shallon went looking, which also makes me wonder, you know, because I really do think that for your mental health, it's toxic as hell. You need to be prepared to deal with these things, because unfortunately people online are just treacherous. Like, they don't care. There's no understanding of boundaries. But then again, we can also say that on Shallon's end as well. Like, both sides prove my point that there's no understanding of where to stop and just a basic maturity of letting things go. And that's something that I have to learn myself in some respects, because, you know, sometimes people start online fights in the comments, and is it really worth it? Most of the time, no. I don't really understand where Shallon's coming from here. And I say that as someone who got doxxed, like my full name, my phone number, and my address. Since then, I moved, changed my number, and I know who did it. My friends traced the person who did it because they were really mad. And even then, knowing who this person was, who put my very life in danger technically, there was no moment where I was like, oh, let me put out their name. Let me, you know, it's just not worth you putting your integrity aside like that just to get back at someone. And I think the craziest thing, which makes me think there's a little bit of delusion there, is that she thinks posting this highlight and putting these stories makes her seem somehow superior, illuminated, better than, when the reality is you are now actually sinking to pretty much the same level as this person, but you went farther because you looked up their personal information. And even in the stories, she said, oh, I'm not going to dox them, but I'm like, damn near. You have their name out there. You have a picture of what they look like. That's enough for a lot of people to find a good amount of information. So even that idea of superiority of like, I'm not doxing them, but here are a bunch of slides of various pictures of them, plus their credit score and their full name, I don't understand. And it's, like I said, it's ironic coming from someone who said, you know, how to be unbothered and how to take criticism. It's like, this is not unbothered. And again, there are so many other routes you could go down before this kind of public shaming that really just makes you look bad because you end up looking like they're bullying you, but you're bullying them back. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and let's get